So I'm here with Robert Scoble from The Scoble Show on the Part2 Network. Robert, how are you?
Really well, thanks.
Good. So we're at the Social Media Club event today, and you were a speaker.
Yep.
And we didn't get to record your speech, so we were hoping you could give us a little recap about what you were talking about, if you remember.
I don't remember. I'm doing another one in a few minutes.
Okay. Well, if you weren't paying attention.
No, I usually do a variation on the same kind of speech, which is I talk about some of the things I'm seeing happen. Most notably, the word-of-mouth network is becoming more efficient, and that has implications to all sorts of things inside business. Because I talked about in the 1980s, I ran a camera store, and 80% of my sales came from word of mouth, came from people talking like this, saying, "Hey, where should I buy a camera this weekend?" You know. But back then, that word of mouth network was inefficient, in that it was just one-to-one. Now we can go on a blog or on a web forum or IM or email, and email or talk with hundreds or thousands. Efficiency of word of mouth, and that the word of mouth network is much more efficient today than it was in the 80s, and that has. Well, first of all, I can see that word of mouth as it happens. So if you say something like Linux on your blog this morning, even if you don't have any readers, it'll show up on Technorati within an hour, and I can then click on your link, and I can see what you said about it, and I can leave a comment for you and say, "Hey, did you know about this?" You know, and that was something I wasn't able to do back in the 80s. It also, you know, PR professionals were trained to deal with the mainstream press, the New York Times, the CNNs, the USA Today's, that kind of thing, or the local paper even. And why did they deal with those people? Well, because they had power. They could scale your business. They could make your business go bigger, right? Because they talked to a lot of people. Well, word of mouth in the 80s had an impact like that, but it was one person at a time, so there was no way to systematically talk with that many people. Now, one blogger can talk to 1 million people. So, and even more importantly is one blogger, like a kid in Australia with 5 readers, can write something, and another blogger can pick it up and amplify it, and then another one can pick it up and amplify it a little bit more, and so on and so forth. And within a few hours, it's gotten around the world and become a major story. And if you're a new style PR person who understands how that network works, how those stories get made, and how to track them, and how to talk with them, and how to pitch them, and how to start the stories, then you're going to be a more adept PR person. Right? So there's a new PR person who needs to deal with this word of mouth network now, where it's not just the New York Times anymore. You know. And what else do I talk about? I don't know.
Well, what do you hope? What do you think people who come to an event like this hope to get out of it?
A lot of them here. This was an interesting audience because a lot of people knew about the latest stuff. They clearly have been reading blogs. They know what tech meme is, which you ask a normal person on the street corner what tech meme is, they're going, "What?" You know? Or even what podcasting is. You know, most people still don't know what podcasting is. They probably have heard the term blogging or MySpace, but they don't really know about the whole other realm of stuff. Or Second Life, for instance. There's only 1 million people in Second Life so far, and out of the 6 billion people on Earth, that's not very many, right? But this audience was pretty advanced, you know. So I think what people who are advanced are looking for is a little bit more connecting with other people who are advanced and trying to find the best practices. So, because they're the rule makers, you know, they're the ones who are going to tell, you know, the second and third and fourth waves of people what's going on, you know, and they're going to be the ones who get quoted in Business Week or whatnot. So they're looking for trends, and they're looking for relationships with other people who are doing the same kind of thing. And they're looking for I don't know. I'm looking for new things. I'm always, and when you're hanging around with people like this, that you hear about a high quantity of new things because they're on the bleeding edge, and where you hang around a normal crowd and they're like, "What are you talking about?" You know? It's like, well, if you don't know what you're talking about, then you know, the chances that you're going to hear something new from that kind of audience is very small.
So we have just started doing the video blogs, and you're pretty experienced in that field. So what advice do you have for us?
I'm just 20 minutes ahead of you. So. Get a good tripod. Better one than that. That's the best thing. For video video cameras. And cell phones real soon are going to have the ability. I mean, this one you can do video, but it's hard to get off. But like Nokia just showed me a cell phone with an 8 gig drive and Wi-Fi built into it, so I could take video of you and then
immediately
Wi-Fi it up. Which you're already seeing the content creation trends change. I was just at a little concert in Greensboro, North Carolina, so not in the tech world.
Right.
And 4 people at this small concert, which probably had 80 people in the audience, maybe not even 80. 4 people were videotaping the music and putting it up on YouTube. So you can already see.
It's got to be more than that.
Yeah. Well, this was a very small, a small, intimate, you know, rap concert. You know? This wasn't, you know, this wasn't Eminem. You know, Eminem, you'll see 1,000 of those cameras, but that shows that something in society is changing, because you wouldn't have seen that a year ago. Or if it would have, if you saw it a year ago, it would have been a weirdo like me doing that. Not normal people, you know. And now you're seeing normal people doing this. Yeah. What else? What other advice? Learn some basics, because communicating via video is much different than typing on a page. You know, I made a lot of mistakes, like selecting the crop of the picture. A lot of people will crop like this, and really you need to crop like that. I can always tell when somebody's an amateur based by how they crop. Or a lot of people have a bright background behind them, or a window, and then you turn black.
I knew that. No.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know that, or even if they do, they don't see it because they're not trained visually. You know, they recognize good video because they've watched TV all their lives, right? But they don't know how to make it. You know, and now that we all have to make it ourselves, because we're in the YouTube generation now, we're still learning the best way to communicate.